You know, I never had seen a mayor do what our mayor has done. He challenged other cities to be as compassionate as we are. He looked at people and said, we can step up and we can give. Never seen it anywhere else but here in our hometown of Louisville. And now that's who we are and what we do, and it wasn't that hard to get there. Will you please welcome our very compassionate, loving, friendly mayor, Mayor Greg Fisher. You know I love you.
Thank you. All right, let's go get him. Well, good morning, everybody. How are we doing this morning? It is great to be out here as we prepare for Thanksgiving. It seems like it comes faster every year. But boy, we have a lot to be thankful for in our community. We've got tremendous momentum here in Louisville. We've created 55,000 new jobs in the last 6 years, 2,500 new businesses, 10,000 people entered the middle class last year, working themselves out of poverty. And a record 44.7% of Louisville adults now have a college degree, which is at 4 points above the national average. So tremendous work and tremendous momentum by a lot of folks. So that's the big picture. Doing good. All right, but now we're going to kind of do a shameless collective group work here together. So before I get into it, I'm going to explain what's going on. We're going to help Karen Williams and the great team she has at the Louisville Convention and Visitors Bureau. They do a lot for the city, so now they've asked us to do something to help them. As you all may know, tourism's a big driver here in our city. We get about 24 million visitors a year, about $3 billion in economic impact. The CVB is full of good salespeople, and they're always trying to think about how they can promote new things. So they've asked us to recruit a major new convention to Louisville. The VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, will soon be selecting their site for the National Convention for 2022, and that you got to work far ahead for this business. So getting them here to our city would be continue to show how we support our veterans, and obviously be a wonderful thing for our city. So the CVB has provided American flags on every table, and we have a video crew here. So are you all willing to help recruit the VFW convention? Are y'all up for doing that? Okay. So in a moment, I'm going to say a few words into the camera. Everybody calm down. We're not quite ready yet. You can see these elections have got everybody's American tension all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a few words into the camera, inviting the VFW to come to Louisville, and then I want all of y'all to stand up, and when I give the signal, I'd like for you each to clap, cheer, and wave your flags, and let the VFW know how much we love to welcome them and their members to Louisville. So it's early, but this will be a good way to get the blood flowing. Okay? So everybody got that? So now I'm going to say just like 3 or 4 sentences, and I'll say, all right, everybody, thank you, great job, and you guys just hoop and holler, okay? All right. And keep going until we say stop. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Are we ready? And we might have to do another take on this. I don't know. Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm Greg Fisher, the mayor of Louisville and the proud son of a Korean War veteran. And I am honored to invite you to hold the VFW Annual National Convention in this great city, Louisville, Kentucky, in 2022. This is a super exciting time in our city with over $1 billion invested in new attractions, new hotels, and the remodeling of the Kentucky International Convention Center, which will serve as your host for the convention. In Louisville, we believe in being great hosts and in honoring our veterans. That's why I brought 500 of my closest friends to show you how much we love to host the VFW in 2022. So thank you for your service. We'll see you in Louisville. And what do you think, friends? You think they ought to come here? All right. Well, that's pretty good. That's what we call one-hit wonder. So thanks, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause there. Well, that was kind of fun. All right. I have about 5 minutes remarks or so, and then we'll move on. But thanks, everybody, so much for coming here. This is a wonderful way to kick off the holidays every year. It kind of gives us a chance to reflect and renew our values in our city. When I first came into office, and I say it every day, we talked about it being a city of lifelong learning, a healthy city, and an even more compassionate city. And could not find a better partner than the YMCA. Steve Tarver does a great job as the CEO there. Our board does a wonderful job. Thanks, Steve. And the Y has been working on these same goals for 163 years. That's a long time. The Y's got a wonderful legacy. The Louisville Y was only the 10th Y to open in the United States. And the YMCA was founded in response to the unhealthy conditions in which so many young people worked and lived in those days, particularly in big cities during the Industrial Revolution. And that instinct of the Y is to identify a problem affecting the community, particularly in a time of change, and bring people together to make things better. That's a fundamental aspect, I believe, of the human character. It's certainly what led to the founding of our own country and to the language in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Americans have lived by those words, fought for and held tight to these magnificent words and the principles behind them for 240 years, with some significant modifications. Our study of history indicates that when the founders said all men, what they really meant at the time was all white men who owned land. Since then, we've expanded that definition of freedom and equality to include all people, regardless of gender, color, or income. And we see in our day that not everyone feels included in the American dream. So the vision for our country of total inclusion for all Americans is not complete. So let's look back a little bit. When we came together at this very breakfast 2 years ago, it was the day after the grand jury decision in Ferguson, Missouri. So we came into this breakfast after watching the riots break out in Ferguson, and it shook the nation, and it shook us as a city as well. And the protests that have started after Ferguson have continued in other cities, Baltimore, Charlotte, and several others. So what we see when that takes place is how much or how little trust some of our communities have for a hopeful and a connected future. And also how little trust some people have in institutions like law enforcement, the courts, and government itself. We also saw concerns, fear, anger about inclusion in this election 2 weeks ago. And we have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror in the acts of bigotry and hatred that have been documented since then. America was born in 1776 when our nation's founders signed the Declaration of Independence. But they knew then what the great leaders in our country have always known, that America is a work in progress, just like Louisville's a work in progress, and each of us is a work in progress as well. We have to accept that about each other and ourselves. We are all imperfect, and sometimes that means that we have to forgive each other. But we also have to stand up for each other. And in our city, I'm happy to report, there have not been many acts that we have to talk down, but we will not tolerate or turn a blind eye when it comes to acts of hatred, of bullying, or harassment aimed at anyone from any community in our city. And that applies to everyone, whether you were born in Louisville, whether you came here from another city or another country. And it also applies no matter what you look like, how you worship, or who you love. We believe in treating all of our fellow citizens and fellow human beings with respect and compassion. Now, why is this so important? Cultivating compassion builds our social muscle, which is another way of saying it builds our trust in each other so we can move through difficult times together. The freedoms that we enjoy are built on trust. It's built on the belief that trust is not only created equally, but we will all be treated equally by the law, by our neighbors, our employers, and everyone who calls Louisville and America home. This is something we have to continue to work at. We have to work every day, harder maybe than ever we've worked before, to establish, maintain, and strengthen the level of trust among our communities and between citizens and our institutions, private, government, schools, nonprofit, and many more. It's a common bond and a common purpose that has made our country strong. We have to continue to work to build that common bond and common purpose in this world where too often fake news or micro-channeled media is frankly trying to tear us apart. And we have to acknowledge that trust involves some measure of risk. That's why trust is so precious. And without efforts to build common purpose and common trust that comes with it, we will not reach our individual or collective potential. So as we prepare to give thanks for our country, we're still working to renew, reshape, and refine America for today and the generations that come after us. So in that sense, we, all of us, are like the founders of our country. We are founders of the future of our city and our country, and we have to embrace that role. We have to do the work, that American work of building trust that enables freedom, opportunity, and prosperity for all. Let me say that I'm honored and thankful to lead a city that is going through a tremendous renaissance, a city that's filled with citizens like you who love it and will work to make it even better. One great sign of our city's progress is the opening of the Abraham Lincoln Bridge and the completion of our construction downtown. I've been thinking about Lincoln, a great native son of Kentucky, and what he would have to say about America today. In his first inaugural address in 1861, he reminded his fellow Americans that, quote, "Though passions may be strained, it must not break our bonds of affection." Those bonds endure today in all that we share with our fellow citizens in our city, in our country, in our history, and certainly our destiny. Lincoln understood that. That's why he fought for the ideas of America and why he closed that speech by appealing to the better angels of our nature. In Louisville, in our collective, we believe in the better angels of our nature, in compassion and in each other. And for that, I'm a thankful American and a thankful Louisvillian. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.